Yes. I am L squared, referred to in Madeline's date book.
Mr. Lockridge, how often did you meet with Madeline?
7 or 8 times, maybe?
Always in the bungalow?
No, occasionally in restaurants.
The L square was marked in her date book on the day of her murder at the very time of her attack. Were you with her then?
No.
Do you have proof?
I had an appointment to meet her at about that time, but I arrived a half an hour early and only stayed 5 minutes, and I don't have proof. No. But Madeline was unharmed when I left that apartment.
Mr. Lockridge, what was your reason for the meetings with Madeline?
Business engagement.
Your Honor, I have a note from the deceased to Mr. Lockridge. We ask the court that it be entered into evidence and marked as Defense Exhibit 3.
I object strenuously.
Would you like to see the note, Your Honor?
Please. Yes. Let this be entered as Defense Exhibit 3. Proceed.
This note was dated 1 day before Madeline's murder. Mr. Lockridge, would you be so kind as to read this note to the court?
Lionel, I'd suggest you meet me at 11 a.m. tomorrow at the bungalow. I'm not happy with the way things are going, and if I'm not made happy soon, it may be necessary for me to expose our whole arrangement. I know what that would do to you, so don't force my hand. Just be there, Madeline.
Your Honor, I object to this note and this entire line of questioning. Counsel is making a desperately transparent attempt to obscure the guilt of the accused by casting dubious suspicion elsewhere.
I'm going to let it stand, but I caution you, Miss Wainwright, to keep and confine your questions to this case and your own client's innocence or guilt. Let's not wander about here.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Lockridge, could you tell us, please, the meaning of this note?
Well, I think it's self-explanatory, isn't it? I was conducting business with her, and she wasn't too happy about it.
How close were you to Madeline?
Objection! What does Mr. Lockridge's relationship with the deceased have to do with Mr. Lorent's trial?
Your Honor, the next question will make this very clear.
Objection overruled.
Mr. Lockridge, isn't it true that you were having an affair with Madeline Laurent?
Your Honor, no!
Order!
And that you needed the secrecy that the bungalow provided because at that time you were reconciling with your ex-wife who had control of the Lockridge money and you couldn't afford to have her find out about your rendezvous?
Well, we've got the same situation again, don't we? Your Honor, what does Mr. Lockridge's relationship with the deceased have to do with this?
I was not having an affair with Madeline.
Would you wait a minute, Mr. Lockridge? Could we have a ruling, please?
I'm going to reserve on this ruling and see where she's going to go with this. Proceed.
Mr. Lockridge, you said you never had an affair with Madeline.
That's right.
Yet you met with her repeatedly in secret. And yet she sent you peremptory notes ordering you to meet with her under threat of exposure. If you had nothing, if you weren't having an affair with her, what was she going to expose?
It had to do with our business arrangement, and I see no need to go into those.
All right. Perhaps you'll answer me this. Did during any of your meetings she bring up anything about her relationship with her husband?
Yes.
And how did she categorize it?
We didn't talk much about her personal affairs, but she never said anything derogatory about it. I did not have an affair with Madeline. We had business meetings, but no affair. I want to make that clear.
And yet you met with her frequently in private. All right, let me see. You saw her on the last day of her life by your own admission, very near the moment that she was killed. And this letter suggests that you may have had the motive to silence her. So, motive, opportunity. Mr. Lockridge, isn't it true that you could have killed Madeline?
Your Honor!
Again, I repeat, I was not having an affair with her, nor did I murder her. And I swear that to this court.
But this isn't necessary, Mr. Lockwood. You're not on trial here. You don't have to defend yourself against a charge of this order. Counselor, I'm going to sustain the earlier continuing objection and put an end to this line of questioning.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Capwell, I'm going to call for a slight recess before you start your cross-examination. I think we can all use it. The court will recess for 20 minutes.
Cruzy, if you don't mind, can I talk to you a second outside?
Yeah.